Good afternoon. My name is Jake Thorne and I'm with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension here in San Angelo, Texas. It's the new year, springtime is right around the corner, and for us sheep producers that can only mean one thing. It's almost lambing season. There's nothing better than a whole field full of healthy, happy lambs running around. But there's a few steps and precautions that we need to make sure that we take in order for that to have a successful lambing season. So in one of our previous videos, we talked about body condition scoring and the importance of doing that early gestation so that you can make any nutritional changes if needed. But now that we're in the last trimester of pregnancy, there's still a few more things that we need to do to ensure to have a healthy lamb crop. So here behind me are some Rambouillet ewes that are owned by the research station. They're due to lamb in mid-March, but in early June or in mid-January, we went ahead and brought all these females up from the pasture and we sheared them. Shearing ahead of lambing actually has multiple benefits. Not only does it provide a cleaner environment for parturition, it clears the belly and flank wool, which allow the lamb easier access to the teats when it drinks for the first time, but the wool will be cleaner, higher yielding, and more valuable to the producer. Along with this, it stimulates the appetite of the ewe, and she'll be able to better put on fat stores, which will aid in lactation later on. Now, another thing that we did post-shearing is we treated these ewes for lice. Lice, there's plenty of products out there that take care of lice topically. Just make sure that you read the label and see that it's safe for use with pregnant females. So post-shearing, we went ahead and left all of our twin-bearing ewes that we were able to identify by using ultrasound up on the cereal grains that you'll see behind me. And the reason for that is that as they enter into the last trimester of pregnancy, those twin-bearing ewes will have a much higher energy requirement than the single-bearing females, about 170% change. The reason for that is because the majority of fetal growth occurs in that last trimester, and so we need to make sure that we're offering the proper nutrition and energy to her so that she can still maintain her own body condition while maintaining fetal growth at the same time. So the single-bearing females went ahead and came back up from the pasture just recently, and now that we have all of our ewes together, one other practice that we're going to do ahead of lambing is give all these females a booster vaccine of Clostridium perfringens type C and D and tetanus. They were all vaccinated as lambs, but it still requires an annual booster to all females. And we're going to do this ahead of lambing because it allows for some maternal transfer of immunity to those lambs. So in ruminant animals, lambs are actually going to be born with an incomplete immune system, and they're going to rely on the colostrum of their mothers for a lot of antibodies early on in their life. So taking care of this ahead of lambing will help protect our lambs in the first few weeks of their life. So here at the research station, we use a specialized system here. It's called a pulse needle-free system. You'll notice that it doesn't have a needle, and so using a needle to give multiple vaccines to multiple animals can be kind of cumbersome. If you change the needle every time, it slows down, but if you don't change the needle, you're also putting yourself at risk for disease transmission and several pathogens. Here in Texas, a common one that can be transmitted by sharing needles is caseous lymphadenitis, or CL. In other parts of the country, ovine progressive pneumonia is something that may be common. And so if we go ahead and use this needle-free system that you can see here, we totally eliminate the risk of sharing those diseases between the animals. This system runs off of CO2, so it actually blows the vaccine through the skin. It's a really quick, efficient process. It allows us to do several hundred females rather quickly. And so you can go ahead and see a demonstration of that right now. You also notice that the animals are still comfortable. There's not a lot of restraint. There's not a lot of stress put on them, which is a very good thing ahead of pregnancy. So we appreciate your time and consideration. We look forward to visiting with you more about management practices as we get through lambing and the rest of spring. Have a nice day.